And we went through a whole period yesterday, about 4 or 5 races, where every race was won by a composite. It really allows 2 or 3 clubs to come together and provide their best athletes to create what we've seen so far as some fast boats. But it looks like currently that Twickenham are having the better of that composite from Ipswich and Sudbury as they approach us in the commentary tower now.
Yeah, both crews working hard. Steering's been really good. The umpire hasn't had to get involved at all, but it is Twickenham who are pushing hard. They're not quite a length up yet, and you just feel that if the composite could just push on a little bit now, this could be a tremendous race in the last half of it. With Twickenham just that almost a length up.
Double Sculls, often a really hard boat to nail technically, but when rowed right looks fantastic and incredibly exciting to row in, especially down the Henley course between those booms that so far haven't caused either of these crews any problems at all, as we'd expect from scholars of this class.
So the composite, having had the slightly more difficult route to this semi-final, with tough races in the first round against Clydesdale, just a length and a half there, and then yesterday against Molesey, and 2 lengths in that. So they've had to work pretty hard to get here. They look very, very comfortable, Ed, though, don't they? They're nice and long. They almost look as though they're paddling, but the boat's going pretty quickly.
It definitely does. It definitely does look like they're having a paddle there, Greg. And it's fantastic to see, even at this aspirational level, that under pressure of the race, you know, that Twickenham double hasn't quite put enough clear water between themselves and the composite to be completely comfortable in this race. But despite that, both crews sculling with real class here, because you really tidy blade work there from both crews as they approach the camera here.
Composite just putting in a bit of a push there. Whoever's making the calls has just asked for something a little more, because they know if they don't get on side now, it's going to be too late. But so comfortable, the Twickenham double there. Nice and long, and sculling really well.
See a great water level shot there. Little slip up of the blades there, but apart from that, these girls have been sculling with real class as they've come down the course so far. Looking really comfortable as they aim just put a bit more water between themselves and the Ipswich Sudbury composite that has so far done so well in this competition. And as we just watched the conclusion of that race, we fly back up to the start to watch our second semi-final of the day for the Aspirational Double Sculls between 2 composites this time, Leicester Rowing Club and Shiplake College on the Berkshire Station, and Aberdeen University and Robert Gordon University on the Buckinghamshire, furthest away from your screen at the moment.
So we've got England against Scotland, and I have to confess to be very interested in this, of course, because as headmaster at Shiplake College, I'm really hoping that Liv Morgan, who is stroking that composite with Lauren, that they do well, and they've certainly made a good start, Ed.
They definitely have there, indeed. See their fantastic drone shot. The Shiplake composite with Leicester Rowing Club have just got out to that better start. I think a little bit of a steering issue there for the other composite, the Scottish composite between Aberdeen University and Robert Gordon University. A combination that we've seen in several boat classes over the last few days. And it's paid dividends so far, but they haven't quite got the might to come up against that Shiplake combination.
Yeah, and that Shiplake Leicester just not as crisp steering as I've seen them over the last couple of days. They've just been warned by the umpire, but they corrected it ever so gently, and that's so important. And it's Lauren Henley who is doing the steering. Oh, and she's getting another bit of a warning there. Umpire, he's looking quite grumpy, isn't he?
Quite dramatic warning there, I think. Quite a big flag toss from the stern of the boat.
I just wonder if that's David Biddulph who's umpiring, and he absolutely takes no prisoners. So those crews will certainly know that they've been told in an emphatic way. But it is the composite Shiplake College Leicester Lauren Henley from Leicester and Liv Morgan from Shiplake College, who are in control of this race. As we go along, they've got about a 4-length and lead at the moment. Sculling beautifully, as you might expect. Both of these athletes have rowed for Great Britain and medalled at the recent international regatta at Munich, and it is indeed David Biddulph who's umpiring. His heart rate will be going a little less high now that that composite of Shiplake College and Leicester have gone out to about 4-5 lengths. Quite a comfortable lead now as they approach the enclosures. I think they're looking pretty good for the final. That final, if all goes well, will be between there we are, that composite there, and Twickenham. That should be quite a race at 5-3 this afternoon.
We just heard there how this double that you can see on screen now, really lovely blade work there, medal at the Munich International Regatta. I think that's just showing how far junior rowing has come on in recent years, that more and more crews are not only competing on the domestic scene, but also travelling abroad to compete there, and not only that, but beating the local crews in those countries and from all over Europe.
So Lauren Henley, just in the bow of that boat, she took a silver medal at the National Schools, and Liv took the bronze medal. So it's a pretty powerful double, let's say.
Definitely is. Combining the best of both worlds by the looks of it there. You can just see there that nice tidy blade work between the two. Shiplake, of course, denoted by their famous stripy all-in-ones.
The bumblebee, as we call it.
The bumblebee, I like that.
The chemistry between these two girls is great, but very different. Lauren, as you can see there, much taller, and Liv, extremely powerful. She's a wonderful athlete, I can tell you now. There's only girls in the 6-horn at Shiplake, and she's had to train on her own, whereas the boys, of course, can train together in 8s. She was awarded the best senior athlete at the college this year, so she beat all the boys, and that says a lot for her. And I tell you what, she is so strong in the mind as well. So when it comes against side-by-side racing, you're going to have to do something to beat Liv, and Lauren, I know, is equally determined.
We'll keep an eye on that race as the Leicester Shiplake combination just starts to take the straight rate down as they come towards the end of that semi-final. But we'll flick down with that fantastic drone shot for the first of our semi-finals of the Development Coxed Falls, this time between Crew 277 Dundee University and Crew 271 Agecroft Rowing Club.
So this is, as it says, Development Coxed Falls, and this is for the Frank Harry Cup. So they've got the advantage of having that person in the bows there, just steering them along and assisting them, cajoling them, helping them, forcing them,
ordering them.
And a lot of the time,
there is a lot of ordering on the bows of these boats.
Yeah.
But that
you will do what I tell you to do.
Some of the cocks I've met are absolutely terrifying, tiny and terrifying. But as we can see there, despite being development fours, these two crews are looking really tidy as they come through the opening stages of this race. And of course, the advantage of having a cox in the bow is twofold. Both the steering, the pressure of that being taken off one of the crew members, and whether it's ordering or encouragement, that does just help the crew maintain their momentum as they start to fatigue later on in this race. But as they come past our country position now, it's very tight, Greg.
Yeah, it's Dundee, nearest to the camera, have worked hard out of the blocks and got just half a length lead on Agecroft. We've seen quite a few Agecroft crews at this competition. Just maintaining that half a length lead. They're pushing really hard. What they'd love to do is get out to that length where all of the athletes in the boat can just look across, but they haven't got that yet, and working really hard.
I have to say there, Dundee University, I think looking the slightly more technically proficient crew, they're looking far more comfortable, as we'd expect from a crew that's leading as they enter the regatta enclosures. Agecroft, of course, a large club with a large presence here at Henley Women's Regatta, will be enjoying the full support of their crewmates on the bank as we just watch about the halfway mark of this race 337 of the development Coxed Falls.
So Dundee, Hannah Campbell, Catherine Caniford, Fiona Lapp, Eleanor Brinkoff, and Coxed by Isabella Ashcroft. See the intensity and the work rate there of the athletes in a UL boat. So they didn't have to bring their boat down with them, which is great on one side, but getting used to a different boat quite difficult. So I would imagine Agecroft are in their own boat.
The crew do form a bit of a bond with their boat, and of course we don't realise that here on the bank, but each of those tiny little components on the boat can be individually adjusted to the athlete's need to make that boat go as fast as possible.
And it's a great shot there of the Cox. You know, absolutely not for one moment is she quiet. You know, she's having a wee look outside there, can't see the boat, so she's got no idea where the opposition are. So all she is doing, look, there she is having a look. Where are they? Where are they? Are they close? I'm sure she's asked someone, but they're too tired, aren't they, to give them any response. Working really, really hard. It's a great shot of athletes striving to get to that finish line first.
As we just watched that crew from Dundee University, hopefully for them, take the win. So I'd like to welcome anyone who's just joined us here at Henley Women's Regatta 2019. This is Finals Day Sunday. We have a full programme of racing lined up for you today with championship crews all the way down to the best the J16s of the country and abroad have to offer, as we look to hand out the silverware at this, the most prestigious event for women in rowing the world over.
So it looks like Dundee are looking, well, certainly not comfortable, one couldn't say that, but they have a comfortable lead. And there's a shot of some of our volunteers, the safety boats that are dotted along the course. So bottom left there, we just see the second semi-final of this development falls between Durham University on the Berkshire side, that's a towpath side, and again Tideway Sculls School. And like Agecroft and Thames, many crews in this this event.
I heard some of the scholars, Tideway Sculls School, talking this morning, and their plan was to paint the Thames red and yellow. And as they come up against a fantastic competition from Durham University, their A-boat, will they be able to get their cans of paint out, or will they be relegated before they reach the final of this, the development Coxed Falls?
But certainly Durham have got out of the blocks that much quicker. They're about almost a length up as they're coming to that quarter-mile mark there. Just you see it from the drone shot on the right there, and that probably is the drone master that we're seeing there.
Looks like quite a bit of fun.
Does look a lot of fun, actually.
Yeah, I should ask if I can have a go later. And as we move away from another one of those fantastic drone shots, we can see there race 338, the development Coxed Falls, between Tideway Sculls School on the left of your picture and the winners currently at this stage in the race, Durham University A crew. But as they come past our commentary position here, Durham's lead looks a bit
well, it's been
unstable
reduced, Ed, hasn't it? And Tideway Sculls Schools have come right back at them. The Durham were nearly a length up, and it's now down to a canvas. So
really
Durham University,
race.
Emily, Andrew, Jessica Tempest, Sophie Tumas, Natasha Morrison, Coxed by Abigail Riley. As we saw them, they were quick out of the blocks and now being pushed very, very hard by Tideway Sculls. And they're just sniffing a bit there of an advantage, aren't they, Tideway? They've really pushed hard, and they're just skellying, as they might say in Scotland, over to the right. And I would say, Ed, that they've taken a bit of a lead there, Tideway Sculls.
They have, definitely. Don't know if it's just my eye here, but I really see the power that Tideway are putting through those blades. They just seem to have more of a grip at the front end, applying the power, snapping the heels down, as we say in rowing, which has allowed them just to gain that lead of still about a canvas, trying to open it up to more about half a length over the A crew from Durham University.
It's fantastic for these development fours to be here at women's Henley. You know, they won't have been rowing that long, and the blade work, you know, won't be as crisp, nowhere near as crisp as the championship. But this is where, you know, international athletes start their journey. And Tideway Sculls there really pushed on, and Durham are going to have to respond now if they're going to get back into it.
Tideway Sculls, of course, as we said there, many athletes will start their international journey here on the Henley stretch. Tideway Sculls, I believe, having representation from their club in the national team every year since 1983. It's a really, really powerful club that year on year, for many years now, breeds fantastic athletes. And that's obviously trickled down that heritage into the development fours, as we see some fantastic blade work coming from these crews, coming past our camera now.
The athletes really worked hard there to get that lead over Durham, and not prepared to give it up now. You can see the effort that's going into every stroke. And there will be fatigue going in there. This is their third race, as well as the time trial, so fatigue will be settling in a little bit. They just need to hang on and they will make the final. So we're just going to leave that race and go down to left hand side of your screen there for a really interesting race. It's a semi-final of the championship single sculls, with Cambridge, Parker on the Berkshire side and Molesey, Lewick on the Buckinghamshire side, and it is the Cambridge sculler who has got the advantage at the moment.
So as we said there, the first semi-final of this, the championship single sculls, just coming away now. See that drone shot as these two scullers just come up to the quarter-mile mark of the famous Henley course. Both scullers just trying to squeeze on now, just to gain that early advantage.
So it is the Cambridge sculler Abigail Parker who has that probably 2 lengths advantage now over the Molesey sculler, Elo Lewick.
I think it might have been Light and Grove. I think this is the race, the other race for the single sculls. I think it's Nottingham versus Tideway.
Well, it is, of course it is. How did we get that wrong?
Commentator's curse has gone even further than we thought. Here we are, so an update on who is actually racing in this, the first semi-final of the Championship Single Sculls. Closest to your picture now, you have the sculler from Nottingham Rowing Club, Campbell Ord, and furthest away from you, Tideway Scullers School, Walters. And it is Campbell from Nottingham Rowing Club that has the early advantage in this race.
So apologies to both of those scullers, to us getting them mixed up, how we could do that with the very evident club colours that they're wearing. Maybe just getting a bit too close to the screen here.
Just there, as we pass through the barrier, you can see Nottingham Rowing Club, the sculler there, just extending her lead over Walters from Tideway Scullers. Nottingham, a really, really strong club up in the centre of England. Fantastic programme there, much like Tideway, especially more nowadays, producing some athletes that go on to represent the country at under 23 and national level.
So the Championship Single Sculls, this is for the George Innes Cup, and we're looking there at Annie Campbell Ord, a Nottingham sculler. She's had a great season this season. This would be the icing on the cake for her if she could get into the final and do well in that. She's certainly in control at the moment over the Tideway Scullers, Bethan Waters. She's just taken a rate down. It looks so easy, of course, when you've got that lead. You just relax in the shoulders and everything becomes a little easier. You don't get as fatigued as you do if you're trying to put the chase on. You just see the difference in the shoulders there. The Tideway Scullers really working really hard to try and get back at the Nottingham sculler, having a wee look over and thinking, oh, I've just put that push in, I should be a bit closer than I am. What's going on? A lovely shot of a super sculler. Everything working well, the balance is good. Engaging at the front end, leaving the blade in for as long as she can. Really smooth action.
You can just see that contrast here between the more experienced scullers in the championship events and the rowers who just had in the development fours. Obviously these scullers in the championship events have been sculling or rowing that bit longer, and that's allowed them to work closely with their coaches to find their individual style, because not everyone rows in the same way that produces the most amount of power.
And there is the second semi-final, the one that I've actually already commentated on, but actually not the same athletes. So now we absolutely can be certain that we do have Cambridge University against Molesey. So Cambridge closest to the bank as you look down there, and it's Molesey Lewick who's had the better of the starts.
Neither of these clubs need any real introduction. Molesey, of course, a breeding ground for great athletes who go on to international success, and Cambridge University Women's Boat Club, of course, famed for their role in the annual boat race on the Tideway against Oxford. Cambridge had a real drive this year on their strength and conditioning training, so building the muscle throughout the winter with their strength and conditioning coach Milos Robel, who's really brought on both the men's and women's athletes here to great success, not only at the boat races, but here at Henley and other major regattas around the country.
So just at the top there, we're seeing the Nottinghamshire sculler as she approaches the finish, just winding down, and about 3 lengths there.
And of course means that our full attention can now go to the race that's just passing the quarter-mile mark between the Molesey sculler and the Cambridge University sculler. Molesey, of course, having that early lead. A very, very controlled stroke there, Greg, from the Molesey sculler, looking very comfortable and very powerful.
Yeah, again, great balance, as you might expect from championship scullers. It's important that the stroke is smooth. If we will get a shot as they go past us, and we'll just look at the bows of both of these boats, because you'll see that they're not dipping into the water. Have a look at that. So the bow ball really smooth going along the top of the water. That means that the stroke is fluid and it's not jerky at all. It just means the run on the boat is that much quicker. So both of these scullers showing us absolutely excellent technique.
Could hear there as they came past us the support for Cambridge University, and I imagine as we get further down into the regatta enclosure, we'll have that support from Molesey as well. Very strong club with a very strong presence here this year at Henley Women's Regatta 2019.
It's a Molesey sculler, isn't it, that has front-loaded this, really wanted to get ahead. She's got about three lengths up now. She can afford to relax a little. Trouble with relaxing is that if you make a mistake with your blade work, you could actually find your boat stopped. So while she wants to keep relaxed in the shoulders, she'll need to keep pushing on and just keeping an eye on there, the Cambridge sculler. So that's the distance. If I was racing here, that's the distance I would love to have over my opponents, because you can cover absolutely everything. And there she is, she's just relaxing a little bit, blowing out. Lovely blade work, look at the bow, smoothly through the water.
Great position to be in for the Molesey sculler, but really hard, especially in the single, for the Cambridge sculler, who can't see or hear her opponents, no idea where she is. Really, really hard, especially on this Henley course. So
the final in about 3 hours. It's, if barring any ill accidents here, it's going to be between Molesey and Nottingham. For the George Innes Cup. Beautiful shot of a superb athlete, working her way towards the final of the Championship Sculls at Henley Women's Regatta. Lovely shot there of the engagement at the front end, right there. Arms extended, great back position at the catch, using the strong leg muscles to push through. So barring accidents, it looks like the Mosey Sculler will move through to the final, and Ed and I are going to hand over to fellow commentators for the next race, which is the semi-final of the Championship Coxless Fours.
So underway on the course, we've got race number 341, Oxford Brookes on the Berkshire Station against London University on the Buck Station. They've just left the end of the Temple Island, are approaching the commentary station about a third of the way down the course. And at the moment it very much looks like London University have set the pace here. They've got about a both lengths lead over Oxford Brookes.
Oh yeah, they've already got some clear water today this afternoon. If you join us for the first time, this is the YouTube live coverage of Henley Women's Regatta 2019 with me, Warren Muggleton, and Sheila Ford. And you are just seeing on your drone, wonderful drone footage here, that is University of London taking the lead in the Avril Velocox Cup over Oxford Brookes University in the semi-final of the event. The creme de la creme of fours, and London really striding out here to a confident lead. Of course, winners of the Women's Fours Championships last year, and Oxford Brookes had a bit of a trial to get here, beat Molesey by a third of a length in the last round, so a bit of a tough one to get here, and University of London really taking advantage of that.
Yeah, after a hard race, you've got to wonder how much they've still got left in the tank for their upcoming races, and it looks like at the moment they haven't come out particularly fast against London University. London University seem to have got a bit more energy still left in them, but let's see if they can put a push on from Oxford Brookes as they just are going past the enclosures. They're going to have to make a move soon before they run out of water. It looks like they've closed the gap a little bit, but they've got to really put some work on if they're going to catch London University at this point in the race.
Yeah, definitely. These kind of points when you've seen them pushing away again and again. We talked about it earlier today, where if you could see the opposition, that's the unique aspect I think about rowing, is you can see your opposition behind
Well,
you.
only if you're in the lead.
Only if you're in the lead.
Yeah.
That's one of the unique aspects of this sport. And it's a very good feeling to have.
Yeah, you're going backwards, but if you're in the lead, it's really good motivation to see. But you don't want your opposition catching up to you. So there's that psychological advantage as well of being able to gauge just how much you can ease back on that stroke rate, and the force that you're putting into your stroke. These ladies, they won't want to relax too much, just in case anything goes wrong. But at the moment, London University very much in control of this race against Oxford Brookes.
They certainly are. I mean, taking a look at some of the stroke rates that we're seeing about a 35 from London at the minute, but Oxford Brookes keeping the pressure up on 38. Two different crews here, different parts. Obviously, University of London take advantage of aspects of the tideway. Also some different. That's how fast they were going. That's what they see. You see all those sweeping angles there that we saw. That's what the rowers see when they're going that fast. Let's go. But University of London striding away, all in unison, in their splendid purple, white and black lycra.
Purple banded, yeah.
Running across the top, and the purple streak.
Yeah, they are. They're streaking down the course, and you can see in their boat. The trick is with sweep rowing that balancing the boat, your main body weight has got to stay in the centre of the boat as you come forward on that slide, and it's just the shoulders and the arms that are moving across to take the catch on that. It's very easy to destabilise these sweep boats, so the crew really do have to work together and watch what each other's doing.
Absolutely, yes. And just coming back to the start, what a great finish that was, but at the start now we have a race 342, that second semi-final of the Women's Championships Coxed Fours for the April Vellacock Cup. On the left of your picture is the US Naval Academy, and on the right, who are about to appear from the trees, will be Edinburgh University.
Yeah,
we have an interesting start there.
I know, both crews having some steering issues, trying to get their bearings just as they come to the end of Temple Island. The US Naval Academy doing a little bit of a zigzag towards the booms, but correcting themselves before they got into too much trouble. Both crews looking like they're settling down into quite a good race pace here, and US Naval Academy have got the advantage at the moment by about half a boat length from Edinburgh University.
They do indeed, yes, and they're really taking this race by the horns, having about rate 40. After a few steering adjustments, they are coming out the better, keeping that coordination at the catch and driving away those finishes. They've had a bit of a run here. They beat the Oxford University women and they beat Leander to get here. Leander, of course, row on this bit of river. So they've really worked their way to this semi-final against Edinburgh, who are a force of themselves.
Yeah, I think everybody's got bragging rights at this point, haven't they?
This is Sunday, I feel. Sunday midday.
It's no small feat to actually get here. And we can see Edinburgh University are starting to creep up now on the US Naval Academy. So stroke by stroke, they're trying to move up the boat and overhaul them. They're just going past us in the commentary box at the moment.
So that's 3/4 of a length that we've just seen going past there.
Yeah.
Superb. Rate of 41 from Edinburgh. They are keeping the pressure right up here, as we said. The stakes are high. It's a place in the final against the winners of the last race, which is London University, at stake here, which we'll see later on today. But my goodness, it's going to be a brilliant final, whoever goes through, I think.
It will. The US Naval Academy trying to respond to that challenge from London University. The question now is, have they got much strength left after going out so fast and that really high stroke rate at the start of the race? What have they got left in the tank to finish this race off?
They have indeed. I mean, we're talking about some girls who know all about pressure at the big time Scottish Championships, won the women's seniors. They know all about controlling a race and finding the right time. We said before, coming up to the regatta enclosure as they are now, this is the point where if there's a bit of overlap, you start to think, are they going to make a move? Watch out, when are they going to make it? How can we respond to it? You see some gritted faces there from the number 3 girl, Georgina Robinson Ranger. There, draw a bit of a balance there. This is it. These are these little psychological moments. If something like that happens, your opponent will see it when they're that close to you and think, right, now we can start thinking about making a move. Yeah,
these ladies will be in pain, but hopefully they'll be getting some cheers and support from the enclosures as they go past. But yeah, a little bit of a wobble there, so that could be just a lack of focus and concentration from the crew. Maybe they're just getting a little bit tired, but it's tough. These ladies will be feeling the pain, and you can see they're so well matched. If Edinburgh can make a strong move now, they might just snatch it, but I fear it might be a little bit too late. US Naval Academy still going strong. They've sorted out their balance issues and back in sync and looking very comfortable here.
Yeah, well, it's it, isn't it? They just do worry about a couple of stray strokes in that bucket rig that they've got going there. It's interesting, if you're not watching this for the first time, you can have 2 different types of rigs. You either have left, right, or bow stroke, or you can have this bucket rig, which is cool because it's the shape of a bucket when you look at it from the butt, as far as I understand it. But it can lead to some balance issues if you're trying it, which what we're seeing here a little bit, and you can see they're trying to respond by bringing a big push here. I think they've put in a bit of a move.
Yeah, I think they have. But when you put that push on, both bow side and stroke side of the crew need to put the same pressure into their strokes, or else you will get those balance issues on a boat like this. So they've got to be totally in sync with each other, and the more time they spend on the water together, of course, the better they'll know each other.
Absolutely. We're just seeing the start of the next race, the Aspirational Quads. But if we can just return to the race going on for this Championship 4 semi-final, it is really hotting up here at the end. Edinburgh putting down the power. They're looking across. I think they may have just done it. They have. What an incredible row through from Edinburgh. So starting behind, they have come all the way through, timed their move absolutely perfectly, and they've rowed through the US Naval Academy to get that place in the Championship 4's final.
It on the line. That's a fantastic performance. It just shows the mental strength that you need in this sport. Now, coming up the course now, we've got Nottingham Rowing Club composite crew with Strathclyde against the Tideway Sculls School. And this is race number 343. Tideway Sculls not getting the best start here. Nottingham and Strathclyde look like they're pushing ahead. Some of these composite crews have been doing really well this weekend at the Henley Women's Regatta, and it's proving true today with just about a both lengths lead for the composite crew from Nottingham and Strathclyde.
So this is the first semi-final in this event, and we'll see the winner of this race and the winner of the next race go against each other in the final later on today, and that will be race 383, which should take place later at 3:15. But for now, let's focus on the action on the water, and it is on the near side the Berkshire Bank Nottingham Rowing Club and Strathclyde Park Composite leading Tideway Sculls on the far side by just over a length.
Yeah, Strathclyde are not letting them get away too far. They're still just about in contact with each other, and you could see the bow person there from Tideway Sculls glancing over just to see where the composite crew, Nottingham and Strathclyde, are. So that probably signals that they're about to make a bit of a push, put a challenge in. They know this course, have several crews down here this weekend, and of course from the past, so they know that they've got to put some pressure on right now, and not let the composite crew get away from them too far. Let's see how they get on with that.
So the composite rating a fairly steady 36 strokes a minute. They're nice and comfortable out in front at the moment. They can look back on their competitors, and they just want to make sure they hold on to that position as Tideway Sculls continue to challenge them going down the course.
Yeah, Tideway won't want to let this one get away, but it's good to see that the Nottingham and Strathclyde crew are managing this race really well, putting in enough energy to keep their lead, but obviously they're going to be aware that they've got a final coming up if they do manage to win this race, so they don't want to deplete all their reserves just now. So it's a really finely balanced game and thought process that goes into these races.
And that Nottingham crew, a crew of Amy Hicken, Erica Hurst, Perry McCuskey and Molly Johnson, just leading out this first semi-final in the Aspirational Coxless Quads.
And as we're watching the final stages of that race, Nottingham and Strathclyde against the Tideway, we can see that race number 344 is getting underway. On the course, we've got Reading University on the Berkshire station and Molesey on the Buck station. And it does look like that Nottingham and Strathclyde are going to take that first semi-final away from Tideway Sculls. Looking very comfortable and confident as they are. Yeah, they've just crossed the finish line.
So it's a steadily won lead there. They started out off the start and just started to push away, and further as they went down the course, that lead expanded and expanded.
Yeah, meanwhile, we've got the next race. They've just passed the end of Temple Island, and Reading University, who once again will know these waters very well, look like they've taken about half a boat length lead, so they obviously got off to a good start. Molesey creeping back on them very slowly, but still in the very early stages of this race as they approach the commentary box.
Yeah, if we look on that drone footage now, looking very, very close between these two crews. I'd say there's only a canvas in it, if that, between the two boats. So very tight at the first stages of this race, and anything could happen as we go down the course. Reading University, a crew of Francesca Bailey-Tate, Kate Leister, Maria Norman and Emily May. And from Molesey Boat Club on the other side of the course, that is Charlotte Bainbridge, Ellie Alexopoulos, Megan Duhart and Sarah Diu.
And they're just coming past us in the commentary box now, and we can see there's not much change in the positions of these boats. Reading University maintaining about a quarter of a boat length lead over Molesey. Both crews keeping an eye on each other, but looking like they've got their act together. Some good form being shown by both crews. Nice blade work, nice and clean.
So as they come into the middle of this race, they'll be well settled into their rhythm. It's now about pushing on, getting that power down into the water, and just starting to turn the screw on your opposition. You want to slowly be pushing away from them as you come towards the midway point of your race.
Yeah, and the umpire, beg your pardon, the umpire's just had his flag up to tell Molesey to move over. They were straying into the centre of the course. Quite difficult, despite what we might think, to row a straight course when they're focusing on so many things, making sure that they're together. And you can see that Molesey are now straying back into the centre of the course, moving away from the booms on the buck station. So it wouldn't surprise me if the umpire is going to shout at them again just to maintain their lane discipline.
So these, of course, are Coxless boats. The oarsmen are steering the boats themselves, often from the bow seat, using foot steer. So their foot will be attached to rudder on the end of the boat. But it's a difficult challenge because, of course, they are facing the other way, and they've got to focus not only on putting the power through the water and keeping up with the race, but also making sure they steer a straight line down the course.
Yeah, it can be tricky, and they just need the smallest touch on that rudder to adjust the direction that they're moving in. Too much, they can oversteer, and they have to correct themselves again. And every time they're touching that rudder, they're just adding a little bit more drag to the boat, so they're slowing the boat down. So ideally, they just want to touch it as little as possible. Yeah, get in a straight line and try and maintain that with the strokes that they're putting through the water, and keep the boat in a straight line that way and not have to touch the rudder. Difficult job.
So Reading University had an early lead in this race off the start. It looks as though they're holding on to that as we head down the course. They're on the near side, the Berkshire Bank. And on the other side of the course, we have Molesey Boat Club, of course, chasing them all the way down the course. But it looks to me as though that gap is expanding now as we approach the third quarter of this race.
Yeah, Reading University very much in control of this race. I think Molesey are not doing themselves any favours with their steering issues. I'm adding a little bit of zigzag as they go down the course. But Reading University in a very commanding position here. They can see any challenges that Molesey will put in at this point, and can respond immediately. I've just seen the Molesey bow person look across, so maybe they're going to put a challenge in. We might expect a bit of a sprint finish here. Both these clubs wanting to go through to the next stage.
Yeah, so both crews rating fairly high. We're still in the kind of 36s, 38s from both of them. But Reading University rating a little bit lower as they're more comfortable in the starting position. But we can see in the bottom left of your screen the next race off the start. This is race 345 in the Junior 8s. On the near side we have St Paul's School, all the way from the United States of America. And on the far side a composite of St Paul's girls and